Hey YouTube! Last month, Beats and Bob's released 2XB303, which is two 303s stacked together inside of one app, and this app comes with an odd caveat, or I should say disclaimer. I have a weird relationship with this developer. He's been relentlessly trying to make apps work for many years. I think he started off in 2013 or somewhere in there. And in all of that time, I have shat all over every single app that he has produced because it has not been good. And I wanted him to succeed on this one. So when he contacted me to get some advice, I offered a lot of free consulting in the hopes that he would, really nail it on this one. Because anybody that determined deserves a little bit of help. So I've not received any money from him. I haven't even gotten a T-shirt or anything like that. But I do want him to succeed. So I wanted to make that clear that, it's a 303 app though. I was going to play with it anyhow, so I'm going to play with it right now. Let's jump right in. This has two different 303s for us to play with, so let's switch over to the second one by switching the channel and create a bass synth for our second 303. Switch into the sequencer mode, which gives us a nice 303 style panel. And now we can start to add notes by jumping through the steps using the step buttons up at the top right. And I'm going to throw in something simple. You're not hearing that too well, so let me actually throw in a few notes and then I'll go tweak that. Alright, so you're not hearing much because I have not brought in the bass or anything like that. So there's a great little bass slider here. And we can also play around with some effects. Alright, so we're hearing that better now. Let's go back to our sequencer, and I will continue to add in a sequence here. I'm dropping the octave on these since these are going to be my bass synth. I'm not going for anything particularly creative or amazing here because this is supposed to be the bass. It's just supposed to kind of be in the background, add a little bit of rhythm. Alright, we got the basis of our bass. And now we can go back into our sound here and kind of tweak this. So there are 5 different waves available to us. We've got, what you're listening to right now is the saw. This is the saw with harmonics. This is the square. This is a square with harmonics. And this is noise. I'm not sure where the hell you would ever find a noise would fit in, but you got that. I'm going to use the square. I'm going to switch over here down into the filter. And now typically with 303s, you'd be doing something crazy with resonance like this. But that's not going to work at all for a bass. So I'm going to keep the resonance probably nil. And bring down the cutoff. Give it a little bit of envelope mod. And some decay. I'm going to explain all of this a lot more when we get to the lead. Just wanted to kind of set up a decent sounding bass in the back. Alright, so we got that. Oh, excuse me. So in our lead synth now, we can do a much more interesting sequence. Now, typically with the acid leads, you would be doing lots of slides and accents and stuff in a way that's rather aggressive. But I know a lot of people don't like the sound, so I'm going to try to make this a gentle acid that people will hopefully not be offended by. So, keeping in mind that when I was doing the bass, I had D sharps on the even notes. I'm going to follow that kind of as I now enter notes here. And I'm going to slide these. So instead of it doing that, I'm going to make it slide across through 3 and 4, 3, 2, 4. or 2, 3, and 4. All right. Something like that. And then I'm gonna not slide and see how that sounds. And let's actually, you know, let's slide those because it's sounding a little weird. Let's do the not sliding parts here and see how that sounds. And this might look weird doing the jumping through steps and doing this. You get used to these sequencers. Like, this is a 303 style sequencer. You go through each step and you set the notes and you set the slides and the accent and all this stuff. It becomes second nature the more you do this. So you see, I can do this while I'm chatting with you guys. So I've been kind of doing a C minor sort of thing. I'm going to now jump into a F minor here for this last part of the bar. All right, that sounds a little hokey at the end. Let me try sliding that. All right, that's kind of the basic structure of what I was going for. To keep this moving, I'm just going to start to show you some of the fun tone tweaking stuff that we have available to us. So this is presently on a wave, a saw wave, and now we can start to play with the filter in all of the interesting ways that one would want to with the 303. So with our, let me actually turn off the bass right now so you can just listen to the lead here. As I play around with this, I'm going to bring down the cutoff here and then bring up the resonance to get a little bit of that, that resonant peak that we're looking for. And you don't need a lot of this. Like this, the resonance of this is super aggro. So, like, you don't need to be up here unless you're trying to call birds. Like, we got a good bird color here. We're gonna get a warbler, and down here we would attract maybe a quail. But if we're not trying to attract birds, we can keep the resonance much lower. And this envelope mod is an important part of this whole relationship. So you hear with the envelope mod and the cutoff down, we're not hearing anything, or very nearly nothing. So as I bring up the envelope mod, it's pushing the cutoff past whatever we've got it at. So it's doing this kind of thing. With the decay, we slow down that thump, thump, thump. So now it's kind of slide to it, like it, even on the parts that aren't sliding, it's got a do to it, which is a lot of fun. Like, it's adding a little bit of funk and excitement to that. Like that high pitch thing you're hearing right now is the resonance. Like, it's got an amazing amount of resonance, even though the resonance knob isn't very high. And we got some effects we can play with. Like overdrive usually sounds pretty good on these. And maybe some echoes. You probably don't need that compression. Maybe a little bit. In the mixer section here, we've got the bass that we were hearing. Let me bring in the bass so we can hear that. So we got the bass slider, which is pretty interesting. But we've also got a fat slider, which is even weirder. Like, I shouldn't have turned on that. Okay. Listen to this now. I'm cutting off too much of the filter. It's really accentuating the mids and then into the highs, which is good if you want to, kind of do some basic sort of EQing. But we can also try the bass on this. And you hear how that's added this roundness to the sound that wasn't there before. I really like the way that sounds. So once you've got yourself set up with a sequence that you like, you can save all. Oh, oops. When you stop it from playing, you can save all. And now we've got ourselves this program 6 saved. And when we move into 7, there's nothing there, so it's just using whatever we've got loaded up previously. And now, so we've got the same exact thing. But we can do some really interesting stuff with the sequencer tools in here. So I showed you manually inputting stuff, but we can also generate them. We can like set a key and say, hey, just generate notes in this. Or we could shuffle things around. So it takes what we've got and it moves it all around. So let's hear how that sounds. We're working right now on channel 1, which is our lead. So let's hear how this sounds when we cycle through. All right. In my previous exploration of that, it usually took many, many shuffles before it hit anything that was good. So I'm going to save all right now because that sounded pretty decent. So I can show you the next step here, where now that we've got 2 patterns that sound good together, we can now play like that. Like we just hit play, move into our filter section here so we can play around with that, and then switch programming. And you see the cutoff jumped back to where we had saved it, so we have that immediate dramatic shift. Like, make that even more dramatic. Oh. Oh, all right. I'm not giving it enough time to make the switch. All right. It switches at the end of the bar, so... So you hear that? I'm getting all kinds of great tones out of this. I do like this as a 303 app, but man, it feels like he didn't ever play with anybody else's iOS apps. Like there's some weird conventions in here. Like all of the knobs are radial, so you got to do this instead of the usual vertical, and in some cases horizontal. But like usually you expect when you push up on a knob, it's supposed to go all the way to the max, and when you pull down on it, it's supposed to go to the bottom, but now you've got to instead do this radial thing that's really, really weird when you're used to every other app working vertically. So that's a big caveat, but all in all, if you like 303s, this is worth checking out. It's got some very interesting tones and waves to explore. Thank you very much to all my Patreon patrons for making these videos possible. Like, I sincerely appreciate it so much. It wouldn't be rewarding at all to be doing these videos on YouTube on the ad rates alone. Like they pay peanuts, and you guys actually give me your money, your hard-earned money, to support what I'm doing, and that really means a lot to me because you're not just some casual observer that's watching me on the toilet. You actually like what I'm doing, and you want me to keep doing it. So I genuinely understand and appreciate that so much. So thank you very much. Take it easy, folks.